I hope everybody had a good Easter weekend. We've got a lot to talk about. New stuff came into the shop that we're going to talk about. Lots of work being done. We'll talk about the PGA Tour and stuff coming up, all next on What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Welcome back to What's in My Drawers Golf Talk. Jim McCleary here, 6-time top 100 best golf club fitter with Golf Digest, and the last International Club Maker of the Year. And why is it What's in My Drawers? Because old clubmaker club fitters are tremendous pack rats, and that's what it was. They talk about what was in my drawers in the shop. And now it's turned into a really nice golf discussion with a lot of folks from around the world. And we plan on continuing that today. So as normal, what we'll go through is the winner on tour. I think everybody knows who that was, but we'll say it. And work that's going on in the shop, going on in the shop, both. And three new products. So let's get started. Number one is the winner of the golf tournament, right? Winner of the golf tournament. We know it's Jordan Spieth, apparently won in a playoff. Or did somebody, he must have over Patrick Cantlay. Now, I didn't get to watch any of this. I was quite busy over the whole entire weekend. But apparently he did some typical Spieth magic in order to win, and that's a good thing. I'm glad to see him come back. That dude was playing fearless until he ran into that hole at the Masters, and all of a sudden everything changed. I'm really, really glad that some of that's starting to come back. All righty. Speaking of a lot of work, so we had a fairly long weekend for Easter, and again, I hope everybody had a good Easter weekend. And sister came down, visited. My dad lives next door, and we barbecued out. Had a ribeye roast. For anybody that's never done anything like that, it was the first time for us. Likes ribeyes, but wants it cooked in a different way. I would recommend a ribeye roast and do it on the smoker, much like you would do a prime rib. Delicious. It was very, very good. We also had a ham for Easter, but Easter Sunday, when everybody went home and we cleaned up, I looked outside and we checked the weather, and it was supposed to be crappy for the next 3 or 4 days, which you can see it's not very nice out there. I was staring down some 50-degree weather with some long grass out there, so we went and hit it. And that's what it was. Nice grassy everywhere. That stuff was blowing. It was blowing everywhere. It was terrible. But we got her done. Mrs. McGolf and we got her done. And we've got a lot of the, we only got a small section of the grass to do, so not too bad. We like that one. So as far as what's going on in the shop, we did a lot. If you guys have ever follow me on the other one, like Instagram, I do reels. I don't do a lot of pictures, but I do the reels. And it's about 15 seconds of your life of looking at some of the stuff that we've done, and starting from head to toe. And I don't do them all, but I do quite a few. And I got to put a little bit of music behind it, the whole 9 yards. I get nothing for it. It's just a lot of fun to do, I think. And so check that out on Instagram, I am McGolf, or just look up McGolf and I think it'll show up. So anyway, what we did, the first one, this was a cool one. This one's going to Georgia. And this is a Titleist. At least I believe, it's going to Georgia. And we put the Golf Pride, the Z grip on it. And we put in a Tour AD. He requested a Tour AD. This turned out really, really well. So they have, most of these adapters have hosels in them. They have hosels. They have ferrules on them with collars and whatnot. And finding that just right collar is a bit of a, it's a choice, because they don't say, well, for a TS2 hybrid, it's this one. You got to kind of mix and match. And as it turned out, I was working on that one and an old white TaylorMade. And the TaylorMades sometimes have a really small one. You can never really find those. Well, I found some. And I put one on the TaylorMade, and then I put the slightly larger one on this Titleist, and they look just like they came right out of the shop. So I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. I'm digging on that. So we're in pretty good shape there. So we got that one. And if you guys were watching, got to see the video that went out on Sunday. Yeah, that was Sunday. We did some PXGs, and PXG is becoming a thing here. But this is the a 211. Now, I have to admit, I'm not up on all the codes for PXG, but I thought the 211 was a first gen kind of number, maybe even a second gen. This looks like a third gen, and I'm sure it says somewhere but you notice there's none of those little set screws in order to help with weighting, and that was the whole theory of we were blueprinting that, and it was funny that we were able to use these Acras. They were 60-gram shafts, so it must have been an independent club maker that was doing them, and so we fixed him back up, and it was pretty good. Another one that we did was these guys. Some new JPX 921s. A guy won them in a tournament, and he asked for some customization. So we put those new ferrules on it, and that turned out good. We had to realign the logos and stuff to make them balance out, and that worked out good. But we started out with something new. Remember when I showed you the new grip from last week? Well, he wanted them on, and so that's what we did. We put them on, and they turned out pretty good. And that was so the video that's going to go out tomorrow is going to be on that set and what we do for a kind of a grip review and another boxes to build. It's number 10. So while we're talking about that, like and subscribe down there in the bottom, like and subscribe. And that way the more people find out about us. Really, that's the big deal. And if you do like what you see, we have a Facebook page, obviously, Instagram and Twitter, if you want to follow along in that. All right, so I really like the way that I'm not a white ferrule guy, a lot of one, but those turned out pretty good. I was real happy with those. And then finally, we had a set that was going to New York. Bob came down from New York and got fit, and this is what's left over. I had it laid out, and Robin decided she was going to package it, and I said, I didn't take a picture. Well, okay. So that was what's left over. And it turned out, the set turned out really, really good. So I'm real happy with that one. Pleasantly surprised on how it came about. So, but that was just a small smattering of what was going on. And we tore up a lot. Mrs. McGolf is actually able to get onto her feet just ever so slightly and helped out with some grips, and we tore it up. We got 5 sets of clubs out in the first day, and we haven't been looking back. So a big thank you to Mrs. McGolf for getting back in the groove. All right, stuff that's going on. Charles, if you're out there, you're going to like this. We've had his set. We've been waiting on a 4-iron, and it is coming tomorrow. So tomorrow we start the builds. And since that time frame, I've shown you that particular model. Remember this one, the Wilson D9? And the review on the video has been really tremendous. There we go, D9s. We've got 4 sets to build. 4 sets. They've been playing very, very well. I've tried them up against all the other ones, and they're winning. So not bad at all. Now they haven't won all of them, but they have won quite a few. So 4 sets, that's pretty decent. And then last thing to talk about, as far as I got a lot of work done in the shop, in the fitting room. I replaced a bunch of ceiling tiles. We had a leak a long time ago that the guys came and fixed, and I just finally got off my butt and I replaced the ceiling tiles that I'm looking up at them, that they're out there, and then some other ones that were in my net where the golf balls had penetrating there, and I moved the net around and got them done. So everything's starting to look like it used to. So there we go. All right. So new into the shop. We're going to start with this one. Now, this was kind of unintentional, but I got a pair of golf shoes, and I thought they were interesting enough that I would share them. And you guys know what I'm talking about with these guys. They're those. Look at that. Squares. Right? Squares. Of course, I got them because they're red, white, and blue. and they do that on the bottom. Now I'm interested in number one, the most, let me put these back. The biggest reason why I would ever buy a golf shoe is because it's comfortable. I could care less who made it. And all I got to see was how comfortable this shoe was, and then gain, oh, you're going to gain distance. Well, we'll see. We'll challenge that thought process. And how you get all these, these benefits from wearing these shoes. All I wanted to do is be comfortable. It becomes white, gray, black. It doesn't matter. Anything but pink, I'm good. And they did it right there. USA is like, well, I can't beat that with a stick. Plus, they saved a few bucks. I think they had some sort of sale going on. So not bad at all. So we're going to do that's going to be a video. Does it really work? So that's going to be a lot of fun right there. I expect we're going to see some more of that. I'm going to do some testing when we do reviewing of putters and things like that. So that's going to be cool. All right. So, and we're going to see if Devin's got on or not. But I sent her a very, 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 very last minute note. Anyway, we got 2 more Sun Mountain bags. Now, when Matt was here, you saw where we had the camo bag, right? Well, I've got 2 of them now, and they're pretty cool. I'd have to say, with the American flag on the side and the patch and all that stuff. Well, we got another one that I think will be really cool. I'm going to save that one for last. However, another golfer from here that ordered this one specifically, and I didn't know it was gray camo until I saw this one, but it's a gray camo on the back side with a black, and this is blue, and then we have camo in this area, and then the black. These are the ball and the tee pouches, and then it's got a smaller place to put your rangefinder. It looks like a valuables pouch. Let's see. Nope, it just goes all the way in there. That's for your rangefinder right there, or valuables pouch. Some cool side pockets. And it says innovative ET technology. So that was I imagine that's French, what they're saying there. Here we go. What does that say? Innovation and technology. Okay, individual dividers all the way down. Anyway, it's got a pocket here for your drinks, and it's a vented one, so it won't get all moldy on the inside. So that was okay. And nice new way of organizing, right? And this is called the sink. It actually seems a bit bigger. And the sink over there, so it fits onto push carts. Now that's the idea. I like the look of the bag. It's as tall and big around as a C-130, just doesn't have all the pockets. So it's a smaller volume to be sure, but a little bit lighter, single strap, no legs, and so it's made to be a cart bag or a push cart bag. Now, the thing I think would be really cool is this one, particularly for all you fire dogs out there. Look at that thing. It's called a first responder bag. It's a C-130. And so I'm an incident commander out at work, and I have the fire department I work with, and those guys do one bang up job. And this is the exact same color of the stuff that they wear. It's got the reflective light on there, reflective lining on there. And it's the same stuff, same lineup as the C-130. Valuables pouch, big honking thing to hold a thing of water, big honking line here. A place to hold your towel, and it's a Velcro area, most likely for your glove. Again, a magnetic spot for your rangefinder, and then you have your 2 pockets, and then there's another valuables back here. This is cool as the flag, and it's on a removable Velcro. Yeah, so you can do that. A fireman's already come in and bought one, and he's going to put some more sticky Velcro on the sides and put more of his department patches on it. I thought that was a great idea. So more of the same on the other side, and then what it has back here is the These go across. These go into the wire basket on the golf carts. So in case the strap gives way, this still stays there. Protects your stuff. Good, and they call it the first responder bag. I just thought it was cool because it did. It looked like a fireman's outfit. So there you go. So that's the new stuff. We covered Spieth. We covered the Wilson going through. Did a lot of fittings too. Did a lot of fittings of just a huge variety of people, and that was pretty cool too. I fit a 70-plus-year-old, and he was looking to gain some distance, and he called us back on Saturday and said, I got an A+. We gained him 20 yards. Pardon me. Gained him 20 yards. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. So, yeah, I'm all about that. So I like those kind of stories, right? The guys that just like going golfing. All right, let's get started. Emmanuel's out there. Trust all is well on a great Monday. Installed a new CPX on my driver. The simulator session felt great. Putting it in play tomorrow. It is soft cushion. It was a grip. It grips like frog's feet. I like that one. That's a good one, buddy. And I'd have to say so. So if you guys, again, tomorrow at 7 in the morning, it's going to be released. You see the video, and we'll talk more about that particular grip. There's a lot to it, to be honestly. And they only come in the gray, as I understand it, but more colors are to come. And right now it's in the gray, but they come in the 3 different sizes. Now, not to steal any thunder from Golf Pride, but as I've been doing fittings, I've been throwing in this extra test for Jumbo Max, and I think you guys have seen it. Let's see. So Jumbo Max said that you can gain yardage from changing a grip. I can say you could lower your score, but gaining yardage. So I threw the BS flag at him, and he said, "Oh no, it's for real." And we talked a little bit about it, and I said, "Well, send me some grips, and I'll talk to a shaft company and see if they'll help me out." And then and we'll do it for irons, because if it's as good for woods, it should be as good for irons. The yardage gain may not be as much, but we ought to see some improvement for sure. They agreed. So they sent me a set of the Tours, which are the heavy models, and then the sets of the ultralights, right? Set of the ultralights. Now, I will say the little difference is that this one's a little more tapered, but it's not an extreme taper like you would see, where this one is, the bottom one is more straight. Now, props to Acra, right? Acra didn't even flinch. They said, "Sure, we'll help you out," and they sent me all the shafts I needed, and then so it's kind of a teamwork process. And then I put on those guys, and so what it is, when we find out the right head that they like, then we put that on there, and then we'll test it. So I've isolated the shaft, isolated the head. Now it's just down to the grip, and to see whether or not people will actually gain yardage, or what the net difference is, right? And I've tested 4 people right now so far, including myself. And when I did it, I didn't gain a thing. However, my consistency went, and I was landing them on a beach towel. I mean, it was just crazy consistent, but I didn't hit them any further. However, the other 3 guys did, right? If I was to average them from top to bottom, I'd say on average, they're gaining around 3 yards per. So the reason being is I had one guy got around 2, one guy got around 4, another guy got 10. So the 10's really bringing it up there, but the 2 and the 4 still makes a 3. So yeah, we're doing okay. I'm gonna have to do a handful more before I really come to a conclusion. But so far, it looks like as if that's the way it's going to go. So way to go, Manuel. Thanks for the lead in. All right. Mike Pett, a snowy Buffalo again. You just can't get away from that, can you? Was able to squeeze in 2 rounds, 78, 75. Nice. Mike was just fitted for last year's Callaway swings around 75. All right. So are we talking about the Epic? You can't go wrong with, or no, the Maverick. You got the Maverick. That's not a bad club. I'll go with that one. He ended up with a 55-gram green hazardous 10.5, head turned down to 9.5. Huh, well, look at that. So he must be an upward angle of attack kind of guy. Unless he's a wood chopper and then they did it the other way. Not bad. Well done, though, dude. There's Matt. 71 in his only round. Very windy. Yeah. It's been, wow. You know, even my sister and brother-in-law live in, we call it central Indiana. And they were projecting an inch of snow on their return. And we were hearing all kinds of stuff about snow. My other sister already had a couple inches of snow up there. They can keep it, right? They can keep it. All righty. Eye dominance has ever shown up in a fitting session. What are your thoughts on the subject? Well, Matt, eye dominance is a thing. It certainly is a thing, and it's how you perceive the ball. I see a lot of it more so in putting. Now, is it the cure-all, end-all? You know, when they talk about do this and look in the circle, and if you can close one eye and you see it and all that stuff, I believe that to be the right test for eye dominance. Its applicability in the golf. That's really the question, right? And in putting, I think it is there. I won't say with 100% absolute confidence that it is, but I do believe it plays a part in it. You know, and again, like I say, the best answer to any of these questions is it depends, because as soon as I do it, somebody who doesn't need it and blah blah blah. But where you would put the ball in your stance would be more about eye dominance, or how you. And what I used to tell folks is how you check the line. So if you were we'll call it front eye dominant versus back eye dominant. Okay, and what I would tell people is, if you're front eye dominant, it would start at the line or start at the hole, work your way back. Where back eye dominant, you would start at the ball and work your way towards the target, just to pick up a line. Did it mean you need to be all the way in the back or the front? No, not necessarily. It's where you actually pick it up. Now, does that work in full swings? I can't tell you concrete that it would. I think that it does, and where you put the ball. I see a lot of people, you know, you might put it in the back and you go, oh, that's an old guy. Well, younger folks do it too, and I think it's where they perceive it to be in the middle is where it is, and then you kind of set people up with that. All right. David Jones, hello there. Charles Bartholomew, solid round in the wind. You are correct. Hello, Charlie. How are you, sir? You're next, man. We had you on the list, and we looked and saw we needed the 4, and it is on its way here tomorrow. So your day is starting. Sorry I didn't get back to you last week. Jim is building a set of D9 4s. There he is. Yeah, he's one of the guys that's got him, Charles. You either helped me sell him or he did him right. No, Mr. Jones actually hit him very, very well. Very smooth swinger, and I believe has the perfect temperament for the game of golf. That was quite a video on the PXGs with a graphite shaft teardown and rebuild. Well, thank you, sir. I saw you asked quite a few questions, and that's great. It was unique. I never thought I'd see Acura clubs in a PXG, but I had to make some phone calls, and sure enough, they got some independent builders out there, and they sell to them, and I'm like, okay, that's grand. You know, if you can make it better, have at it. And the thing with that, as we saw, if you guys haven't seen it yet, I suggest you go look. But he had a certain spec, and they weren't built to that certain spec. And whether it was, you know, he wanted a swing weight, and they added length to get to the swing weight, which is a typical OEM process. However, it's not correct. And so when you do that, you got to take all this off, and it's an exercise on taking them apart and putting them together right. It was a lot of fun, actually. They turned out pretty good. All right. Here we go. Did that one. Here we go. Oh, I got to get to the top. Here we go. Hi, David. I'm in line the same. Yep. And they will be, Charlie, they will be. The What you'll notice right away is the look at address is a little more players-like, a little bit more, a little bit less offset, just a skosh. But the bottom, the sole bottom, is much, much more narrow. I think it plays better. And I think the sound is a little bit better too, if you can even believe that. So yeah, we're good to go. John Matson, David, D9s. Yep, D9 forged. Well, no, I think, what did we go with you? Yep, we D9 forged, yeah. Brand spanking new ones, man. All right. Robin's talking. You're heading for Memphis. Ooh, soccer weekend. Yep, she'll put it on to me. PT at YouTube. Phil from Scotland again. Hello, Phil. How are you, sir? Is it possible to change the lie angle of a club myself with no specialized tools, only normal DIY tools, or should I always go to a pro? Wow. Well, all right. So Phil, what that normally entails when I get questions like that is somebody has seen a video of Ping bashing the hosel while the head is in a vise and they're banging on it, or the hosel's in a vise and they're banging on the head. And they can do that. Why? Because their vices are specific to hold those particular items, and those hammers are of a particular kind, and those people are actually trained, if that's even a thing. But they know how much to hit in order to get something out of their clubs. So those are the ones. Now, Arnold Palmer used to do it, and he would grab that sucker in a regular. I believe he had smooth jaw vices, and it just would just get after it until he got what he liked. It was purely experimental, but he would bend him until he got what he liked. So, can you do it? The answer is yes, you can do it at the extreme risk of busting your clubs. All right, of breaking your clubs. So, do I suggest taking them to a pro? I suggest taking them to a club maker that can do that, has the gear to do that. A loft and lie machine, not the same thing you've got. Otherwise, you can do it. Oh, excuse me. So that you could do it as well. So that's what I would suggest. There he is. How are you, buddy? I haven't seen you for a while. Welcome back. There's that snow coming back. Gonzalo Larzabal. Larzabal. Wow. Well, hello there. Glad you're on. New name. We like those. We like new names. Travis K from Jersey. All right, buddy. How you doing? What are your thoughts on center shafted putters? You mean the two that I've got in my bag? That should tell you something right there. Yeah. For some reason in the putter world, for putter designers, it's like the most hated thing ever. But it's funny because center shafted's kind of gain and wane in popularity. Certain folks just gravitate toward them and certain folks don't. Now, why is that? And the biggest reason is that I've seen, and I've seen in print, is that the center shaft gets in the way of aligning the ball. Okay, the center shaft gets in the way of aligning the ball. That's true. It does. However, in the ones that I have, and I mean they're straight in center shafted as you can get, and yeah, they do go in there. However, I don't know if it's just because I'm used to them or whatever. I don't see the shaft anymore. I just see the alignment behind the shaft as it goes into the ball. I rarely see the shaft. I think it's a mental block on my part, but I mean that's just what it is, and that's the reason why a lot of people go away from that. Now, do you need a? Can you hit these things with a screen door putt? I wouldn't recommend it. Straight back, straight forward, or something with face balance, I would recommend highly. Now, some people are very visual, and if they're very visual, they probably would not like a center shafted. But if you're very straight back, I ran into a fitting this time around. He had a 2-ball face balance putter that he really liked because it had the triple track on it, right? Here we go, triple track on it, and that helped him align it. Now, a center shafted putter would have been extraordinarily better for just his style, the way that he was putting. So yeah, I'm all about it. And I'm looking through the Odyssey. I guess the 11 is going to come center shafted. I just haven't seen one as of yet. And I was talking with, you guys have seen the video I did with Makefield putters. I was talking to them last week, and they are ready. If you've ordered something from them, they are making putters. And I talked to them, and certain fitters are getting a what they call a fitting pack. And then what you'll do is you'll special order them, and they will hand make each one of them there to your specification. And with that, you get a weight kit and a head cover, and all the things that come with it. And if you wanted something even more special, they have they can mill like a logo in it or a name or something along that lines. So there's a little bit of personalization. They really were thankful of the video because it got the story out of Everett and how he got started because of his son having autism, and he had to watch him during COVID. And it just keeps rolling into just one really cool story, right? Anyway, they make a center shafted putter, and it's pretty nice. And hopefully I have one coming, and when it does, there's a review coming on that one. So there's a lot happening. But yeah, I'm all about center shafted putters, particularly if the stroke matches it. If it doesn't, then yeah, it's not worth it. All right, there's Robin talking some more. Here we go. Steve Thorne. Good afternoon from Saratoga, New York. What do you say, Steve? Saratoga. Boy, oh boy, that's memories. There you go. All right. We were there when the Grateful Dead went through. That was years and years and years and years ago. But yeah, the Grateful Dead came through. I think Saratoga basically sold the most beer they've ever sold in their whole life. Dave Brungrowski, how are you? Snowy and cold Michigan. Oh my God, since noon. See, so we're supposed to get. I'm down here past the banjo music just enough to miss the snow, but get the cold. It's going to get into the mid to low 30s tonight, and with a chance of a wintry mix tomorrow. And then it goes away, and it's supposed to be like 80 on the weekend. So it's going to go from needing a parka to running around in shorts and dying to be like jungle hot. So yeah, we'll see how that works out. There's Ashley. How are you, sir? Ash from Ontario. Hopefully all things are going well. There's Dwayne. Man, haven't seen you in a while, buddy. How's the swing going? Very well. I've actually signed up for the guy's internet thing for a year, and I'm learning flighting now. I'm really kind of taken into this flighting of the chips. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Talk about consistency. Holy smokes. Yeah, it's been a lot. It's been pretty good. There's Steven. How are you? Happy Easter to you too, sir. Very cool. We want to see how that works out. Ken Jones. Just received a 1966 Ultra set from Walter Hagen. Ooh. I won on eBay. Thank you so very much for getting. Just received the 66 complete set I won on eBay. Ken, I'm not sure what that's all about, but okay. Very cool. Glad that you're restoring. Golf swings. Got to set in the pond modus. Iron shaft pulls from a new Mizuno set. The tips are filled with a solid plug of epoxy. Do I need to remove the epoxy before gluing? The answer to that is absolutely. Yes, you want to take that thing out. Now, Mizuno, depending on if the person that you got them from has these really weird rectangular tipped weights on the end of them as well. Those need to go those need to go too. So you're going to need to take a little torch to the end of the tip, maybe I don't know, 15, 20 seconds worth, just going around, getting it warmed up, and then run a drill down through the middle of it, and it'll come away. You need that. Here's the reason why. As we get to this one, so here's the reason why. If you don't remove that, we'll just use this as an example. Let's just say this is the end of a tip of the shaft. If you've got epoxy right to here and you go to put epoxy in there, when you push in, you're creating this air bubble and it's going to want to push the shaft out. That's where the air goes, is up the shaft when you go to push this thing in, because you're creating basically a liquid seal with the glue all the way around the end into the club. And so you need to have that go away. Now, if you hold it on there, you'll eventually hear the thing burp, right? But why? Clean it out, and that way you know you're not going to get any rocky sounds later on down the road too. So drill it out, torch it, drill it out, and just kind of, you don't have to get aggressive with it. Just wobble it out, and you should be good to go. Yeah, look at that. We were talking about that. And greetings into Toronto too. Yeah, I would just hit it with a little bit of heat, just enough to get it not gooey or anything, just enough to soften it up so it'll accept the drill, and zoom, and then work it around a little bit and you're good. And then tap it on the ground. You'd be surprised what comes out, because they tend to use a lot of glue. All right. Assembling a set of irons. Do you recommend Golf Works glass shafting beads or their quick center beads? What's the difference? Well, I think I know. I would recommend Quick Center. The glass beads are the same thing. However, the difference is that the centering beads are basically uh, sandblast grit. All right. In the world of doing it industrial strength, I mean, just doing a lot, they call it Black Beauty, and they sell them in these 50-pound bags, and you know that a container of that lasts you a long time based on just pouring it out. And it's basically, if you think about it, for lack of a better term it's basically sand, right? It's just basically sand, and and that's what it is. Now the glass shafting beads are exactly what they say they are. They're glass and they're beads. Now, after a while, they could break. Now, does that mean anything after the glue's hard? Not really. It's just a preference, and I think it would be my personal preference that I would use the sand versus the glass, because the glass can get very, very fine. And I've never known anybody to complain about it, but every time I hear the word glass beads, I think of cutting my fingers. Now, is that going to happen? Probably not. Probably not. But I just prefer Quick Center, as that's what I've been using forever. And but it's basically heavy duty sandblast grit. All right. Can you show that Ferrule on the TS2 again? I don't know. Yeah, let me go look here real quick. Honestly, I don't know if I can show it to you or not. Let's see. There's the top end. You can't see it. That's a bad picture. And that's a bad picture. So, and it's down at the bottom down there. Apparently, I don't have a very good picture. So what it is, it's basically about a quarter of an inch. It's a quarter of an inch 370 ferrule with a collar. And that tends to work just right. Okay, let's go back. Nope, not there. Here we go. Comments. There we go. Yeah, I'd like to have. Well, let's see. Maybe, just maybe. Hold on, give me a second here. Let me go to my camera. Maybe I have it in there if I took it. Give me a second to scan. Okay, let's see. I got it there, got it there, got it there, got it there. Nope. I did not have that. Okay. So nope, I don't. I'd like to show you, but it is the quarter. All right. Keith, impressive. Well, thank you, sir. Welcome to the show. Yeah, it is the Nick Faldo shoe, isn't it? I saw one of his things. What got my attention with these, Charlie, is that there was some guy that was actually an engineer that did testing on the balance track, and they were showing some stuff from that. And I thought, oh, okay, well, let's see if it works or not. 14-year Glenn Levitt, bud. I'll tell you, it's not bad. Not bad at all. Jason Blevins loves those shoes. I think they're comfy. I wore them for a couple hours around the shop just to see what it was all about. And I almost forgot I had them on. So yeah, I'm digging on them. They do have some new ones called Arrows now, but hey, you can't go wrong with the red and blues. Oh, and Jason, you'll like this one. Hold on. Let's see if I can get him to show you. This one was almost made for you. Look at that pattern. See that? Huh? Look at that. Jason is musically inclined, so I figured he'd like that. So far. All righty. James Bolton. Do you do work with Cobra irons? Tried their new Forge Tech demo day the past weekend. Really liked them. Just wondering if you build them. James, I do not. And it's not for lack of trying. Okay, it's not for lack of trying. I have sent them several emails to ask them, hey, send me stuff to review. Can you work? We really did try before bringing on another OEM, and they just didn't want to respond. So there is no Cobra representation down here. Okay, Redemption. What do you say, buddy? What shaft would you suggest for someone swinging 116 miles an hour? Wow, dude. I'll just say wow. All right, so well, something certainly in an X-Flex range. You're right in the middle of it, right? You're right in the middle of the X-Flex range. If it's somebody that's very aggressive, I would look at the RDX. Okay, that RDX shaft. That one's going to be pretty stout. If you're dealing with Acra, I would look at the Tour Z, or the TZ5 or the TZ6, depending on the type of swinger that person is. They will certainly be able to stay with them for sure. Okay, for sure. In a more, what I would say, in a little more pricey, the graphite design, certainly in the XC if you wanted a lower flight. They got the UB if your guy's super aggressive. I put one in play for Mark, who's our guy that he's been on a few of the videos, and he just gets it. And it was probably the only shaft that actually withstood him. So yeah, it was a 7X, and I would go with that one. Now, if you want a little bit more higher, I would go with the AD. Those are some things to shoot around. Tried the squares that need to make wider sires. I think they would really like them. They're just not wide enough for my feet. X, that was one of the reasons why I ended up getting them, because I'm more of a wide shoe guy, right? I like a wide shoe, and I looked at these, but I'm not like a 4. Well, in tennis shoes I can be a 4E, but in regular shoes I'm more like a 2E. And these came in. They said it'll fit a wider sole, and I said okie dokie, and they did for me. Now, if you got a super wide foot, no, I can see where that would be a problem. McGolf Cub making in Ohio. Yes, you did. He's making a little bit off my name, but he's out of Columbus, and he actually specialized in refurbing putters. He did a lot of business when I actually found out about him in Scotty Cameron putters. Now, if he's gone up and he started refurbing those irons, that's cool. Yeah, I just wish he'd get off of the McGolf club making. I have a pair of those square shoes, and they're pretty decent for comfort, but I didn't notice any distance gain as compared to my Nikes. Okay. David, if it doesn't, I do feel more solid wearing them. They're a little bit wider in the stance, and it tends to cock your feet so that your weight more goes towards the middle front, and which is probably where we need to be. So yeah, I haven't swung anything with them as of yet. And the funny part about the flat foot is that on most of my golf shoes, the toe is the first thing to get all wobbled out because of my turn. All right. The colors on the Sun Mountain are not. Yeah, they are, right? That blue and gray. I mean, if you're a Panthers fan, and I don't know why you would be one, but if you're a Panthers fan, that would be perfect. But I just like the gray camo part of it. I totally was caught off by that. And then, I mean, who doesn't think that that's cool? I just think that's neat as all get out. So very cool. Mega Tiger fan. All right, very cool. It is. Guys, I do like them. Now, I will give Sun Mountain some serious props. They don't mess around when it comes to build quality. And that's the reason why we stuck with them for so long, is that they have their the dividers go all the way to the bottom. So no tugging on grips and all that stuff. That was my number one reason for getting there. And they're actually the materials get shipped in, but they're made in Montana. So that was another thing. And these guys are not afraid of going in different directions. So that's very neat. And if you guys know anything about the Finn scooter, they have something to do with that Finn scooter, of which I'm desperately trying to get Devin to let me borrow it for about 2 or 3 weeks so I can ride around on it and see what it's all about. It'll be a lot of fun. I do. Me too, bud. And the colors are neat. These aren't obviously the only ones, but for you being up in Canada, probably not liking the USA bag so much, but they do have a ton of colors to choose from. I still play the first generation USA bag, so it's going to be very, very cool. All right. Would you make a shaft recommendation based off of a video and some track numbers? Well, Steve, I've done that before. A lot of what happens is a lot of guys don't have access, and they live in rural communities and they just don't have access. And yeah, I'll take us some swings, and they will send me numbers just like you're talking about. With the caveat, you got to understand, this is best guess from me to wherever you're at. And but yeah, we can get you in the ballpark at least. From a fitter's point of view, I guess I should throw in the caveat of, yes, I'd prefer that you go through a fitting. Yes, I would much rather to have that. However, we got to do what we got to do. All right. Robin's talking to a whole bunch of folks. There we go. Yeah, unfortunately they are. But it is. Hopefully he's done some good work. Also, the bottom line, hopefully he's done some good work for you. All right. There you go. Yep. Did those Mambo grips decrease the swing weight of the club, therefore more distance through club head speed? Not necessarily, Charlie. The one where the guy went 10 mile an hour faster actually used the ultralight and did very, very well with it. It was, I think it's really again, we're new into this still, but it's the difference of whether or not the feel is in the hands or the feel is in the head, and where you get to it. Now, the bigger grip, I think, they say relaxes the grip so you can make a swing. And there is some truth to that, to be sure. But if you get to a certain point where it's so big, it's hard to get this moving. And I think that was what my problem was, I'm trying to hold this thing. much like I would normally hold it. When you get these bigger grips, there's just, and you don't have those tremendously large hands, that you have to hold them in a different style. And they tell you about this on the website, by the way, on how to hold them. It's not radically different or Bryson DeChambeau different. It's just a little bit different in order to get that moving. And when you do, it's pretty decent. I got to say, it is very decent. Central Indiana has got about an inch of snow. Ooh, wow. They can keep it all, dude. You can keep it all. Jake Wilson wants to know my take on Kzg Clubs. Okay. I imagine Jennifer still owns KZG. I wasn't one of the original dealers, but I was in a very solid group of club makers that was dealing with them. And we did a lot. We did a lot with them. The thing I really liked about them was their iron selection. They had a lot of cast and they had a lot of fours, and some of them look like each other. So that was kind of cool too. They're not afraid to step out there and tell you that they're very good quality. And I believe they are. And I haven't seen anything here as of late. Their offerings, they had some, the ones that we really did very well with were these. It was a progressive design where the top end was more cavity back like, where as you went down the set, it turned into more blade like. I thought that was just a coolest idea ever, and it worked, right? And it worked well. And we did that. So the quality of the build is there. The designing is there. I believe. What is his name? He's over in California. He's actually a very good club designer. Helped him out with that. Now, their weak point, it would be my opinion, their weak point is in their woods. They do have some nice offerings, but are they going to blow anybody away? No. And they have putters, and they have milled and forged putters. Some of those putters are really nice. They have very thin faces, and they just feel great. It's been a while. That's been since 2006 or 7, maybe, somewhere in that area, since I've actually had any dealings with them. So that was back in the day. If they haven't changed much since then they're probably being left behind. But if they've kept up, then more power to them. But when we were dealing with them, and that was the reason why we did is that they had a lot of high quality stuff and some innovative stuff at the time. So yeah, hopefully that helped. Danny Johnson, windy northeast Mizzou. Wow. It's this big monster cold front. I should have looked up the radar. All right. Hello from a warmer Sweden. There you go, Krister. Good deal. All right. Good for you. So now are you going to be running more again, or is that just a winter thing? Imitating flatter. I don't know, bud. I just don't know. Next Monday, I'll be going for an iron fitting. We'll test the Excaliburs and my old 7-iron. And my current 7-iron, I can only swing, so I need some lighter shafts. Oh, okay. I get that one. Wilson makes a good golf club, Charlie says, and he would be correct. They do. Missed last week and late this week, golfing poorly last week. Well, hopefully it comes around, man. Hopefully it comes around. Oh, I want to go back to this. Charlie brings up a good point. And I said it in the D9 in the D9 video that Wilson doesn't have the marketing budget that the bigger companies do. The Cobras and the Callaways and the TaylorMades and the Titleist. Actually, there's kind of a tier, right? It's if you're really be honest about this, it's TaylorMade and Callaway, or Callaway and TaylorMade, depending on how you like them. So I'm going to go Callaway and TaylorMade, and that's there. And then you have Titleist and Ping, and then you have Cobra and whoever's left over. And in that area, in that particular area, Wilson gets placed in that particular area because of just the opposite thing of what Cobra does. Cobra was actually known for their drivers for a while, not so much the irons. Well, that's turning around. Well, Wilson's known for their irons and still are, and they weren't known for their woods, and that's coming up. I hope to see some more improvements, but it's coming up, and it's becoming a thing. And with the economy kind of, I call it leveling out, but as these guys start getting more, they can afford to tell people how good they are, and we see a bigger presence on maybe on TV or somewhere. And because what they do is they strategically inject some marketing and then fall back, and then strategically inject it because that's all their uh, marketing budget can afford, to be honest. And where everybody else is this just total saber rattling all the time, bat, 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 bat. And so it keeps in your mind. But I at the current rate that they're going, I fully suspect that you'll see some really good. You'll see the Wilson bag on Sundays now, so it's coming. All right, Daryl Carpenter, how are you, buddy? Chesterfield, England. Thank you for staying up late. Is there any way to replace a cracked ferrule without removing the head? Well, there is. There is, Daryl. You may not like it, but there is. There is a company out there that does what's called a half ferrule. And what it is, it's two pieces of a ferrule that have notches. So it's kind of it fits in there, and it's a notch on one side, and then you come back around the other side, and then it's more like that. Okay. And they clip together, and you slide them down into the thing. Now there will be a line, but if you orient it in such a way, you probably won't see it. Now you can dress it a little bit, but the line's still going to be there because the line's all the way down. Now you can maybe fill it with some dark epoxy and maybe get away with it, maybe. But then what it'll look like is this line and all this shine, and that won't be shiny. But yeah, they do make them, and they're the split. I think they call them split ferrules, if you look those up. But they do that. Will it look exactly the same? No, but it's a ferrule. Now, that's what that is. However, depending on what kind of ferrule it is, particularly if it's, say, on a Ping or PXG or something with a collar on it, you're going to want to make sure you put something in that collar spacing so that it doesn't wobble loose. Otherwise, you're going to be re-gluing the head on anyway. All right. Henry Monster. Question on iron soles. All right. What has more impact, sole width or offset? I play some firm, dry conditions and feel like my irons with less off seam to produce a better strike. Okay. So, Henry, what we look at is sole width. If you're playing on, we'll call it hard pan. Okay. If you're playing off of hard pan, typically a thinner sole would probably be better for you, because the wider sole will tend to want to bounce you out. And if you're already on hard pan, that's happening. All right. So something with maybe a little less sole. I would still stay with radius. I just think that works better. But I do like the thinner sole. The offset is probably just delaying you a little bit so you can get more hood action onto it, and it's what's causing you to get through. It's assuming you're not stabbing it. But the width of the sole would help you quite a bit. Again, this is all based on a standard attack angle, that kind of stuff. That would be me personally. And that's how we determine wedge play, right? If you're a sweeper and you're playing hard pan type conditions or very hard conditions, thin conditions, that low bounce and smaller soles will work well. Whereas if you're in heavy conditions, i.e. thick, fluffy, and you're a chopper, then yeah, wide soles with higher bounce in order not to get stuck. So the same thing applies. There you go. Ryan Tracy, there's a new one. Do I have a video on turning down ferrules? I have a blue felt belt, but the last one I did looked awful as I got it as I got to the top of it. No, yeah. So if you look on there, just type in search under the channel and look up Ferrules. I address it in boxes to builds a couple of times, but I do have a one that's out there. Uh, it's probably 2 years old, maybe. So don't be afraid to go a little further back. This wasn't so gray, and yeah, we talk about it. And the felt belt's the way to go, to be sure. Now, depending on how long the ferrule is, what you want to do, if it fits in the width of the belt, you get at the angle and then you just work your way in so you're getting the whole thing at the same time. Don't need to mess around with manipulating it so much, right? Now, if it's wider than the belt, typically what I try to do is if you have beauty rings, which most of them do, if you get a beauty ring, start as close to that beauty ring as you can so the transition can be hidden to an extent, and then bring it over to that and then lean it in and get it, and then use your finger to make sure that you're smooth. Do I have a brother? Hey, 220. Since I just hit the JPNX, so STG 220 driver. Yeah, the I do the movable weights. It's a lower spinning movable weight thing, uh, and it does work very, very well. However, they have an STX and an STZ, not to be discounted. They're all very nice, but they're all spin killers. They all look pretty much the same at address. Some slight shape differences, but where the magic's at's on the bottom. There you go. Yeah, they call it blueprinting. So uh, they call it now. Blueprinting can take on several different methods, right? You can, if you wanted to get super down and dirty, you could take the clubs apart and check the MOI on it, and check the radius and the bounce, and do all these different things that you can measure on the head. The real trick there is you got to have the tools. And if you were designing a golf club, that would be paramount. For putting a golf club together, not so much, because you're not going to change it, right? You can know what it is, but the chances of you changing it are very, very small. Even measuring, I mean, there was a point where I could measure the grooves, and we used a jeweler's thing, and you would look down and you could measure grooves based on lines, and we used to do that, and depth mic grooves. I mean, I did that for just a short period of time, so I know how to do it. Now they put a bridge or a siding around the face, and then they pour this goo on there like a silicone, and they pour the silicone off and they measure the silicone. It's way easier that way for sure. So that was that one. But yeah, so it's really neat, and then you can get as simplistic as what we were kind of doing. I think it gets the point across. Is that what I was looking for? All right. Kirk Ruggles, how are you, sir? How important is the fundamental? Uh, I think it's very important, Kirk. Very important. What feels good to the player is also important, and part of the. Oh, I'm getting the sign. The what feels good to the golfer is very important when it comes to a putter fitting, to be sure. But there's other things. You got to be able to see the line of the putt. You've got to be able to have a stance that is, you know, without any medical issues, that squares up to the line. You've got to have, a certain way that you're going to allow your hands to move, which will drive your path, and then will drive how you open and close the club, and all these different things. And when you put them all together, it's really interesting to see. And so, yeah, I think it's important. Now, in all of this, the feedback, just like in a regular fitting, is, wow, I really do not like this. Okay, that one's gone because it won't provide confidence. Or, wow, I really like this one. Okay, we're close, but this is not exactly where I want to be. And until you get down to the one putter that actually works. So yeah, if I can say it again, yes. There you go. Caden, what's the best used clubs that you can currently buy? I am looking for some new clubs, new to me clubs that have pretty tight budgets, so as much brand new clubs are really an option. So, Caden, what I'd be looking for is some of the best deals. Some of the best deals I've seen on golf clubs have been on pre-owned of the actual OEMs themselves. All right, Callaway's pre-owned side is just crazy, crazy big. They have a ton of stuff. I would look there. That would be number one. And Callaway does a pretty good job on what we'll call secondhand, right? Uh, Another one, I don't know what TaylorMade's doing, but I hear they are doing it, right? I hear they are doing it. Now, Second Swing Golf is another one that specializes in that. However, I don't think that they're going to be as inexpensive as one would believe, and because they got to make a profit, right? But Second Swing would be something to look into. Of course, eBay's already out there, but you're at the mercy of people selling it to you. The OEMs will tend to be more conservative, so they can keep having those high praise in their comment section. Titleist would be another one. But as far as secondhand, I've seen moving around or newer clubs, Callaway, Mizuno would be two top tier ones. Ping and uh, Ping, and then TaylorMade. Titleist, I just don't. And it's not that it's a bad club. I just don't hear a lot. I'm just going based on what I hear. All right. I know, right? Golly. Ontario or Canton, Ohio. Hey, Jake. Yep, I answered that one. See you in May. Okay. There's Michael from the UK. Thank you for staying up late. Look at here, Robin answering me. Woohoo. There's Duke. PA, did you get to try out the new grip? All I did was get to be able to put it together. And it is soft. It really, really is. It's sticky and soft. So very good. Uh, I do. I think it's very nice. Is it something for me? Probably not, because when I get those things, I just want to squeeze all the way down to the bottom. But they are very sticky, and so if you like something like that, then these things will be certainly on the watch list for sure. Tim Clark from Reading, PA. All right. Thank you. Well, you must be extraordinarily smooth, or you have a club that actually measures in the X Flex range. There's something, because they do that. It is, Michael. I really do think they do a very fine job. And, for again, in the UK, where a lot of walking occurs, at least I'm assuming there's a lot of walking, that sink bag would help. You can get a trolley and just push around and be fine. Patrick, there you are. All right, appreciate that. Getting down to the bottom. Here we go. LeJoining Lake, can you give me your thoughts on Tour AD F Series shaft? Tour AD F Series. The F Series. I'm not familiar with. I know what the AD is. The AD is actually quite nice. The F Series. I'm not sure if the F Series is supposed to be all about the fairway or not, but the AD, very, very nice. It's the middle of the road stuff, right? Middle tempo, middle swing speed, middle release, the whole 9 yards. And very good. It's well, if you're a later releaser, you really like it, but if you're early, maybe not so much. There's Jeffrey from Portland. Thank you. Bought a membership at a local gym. All right. Like you, I've seen you, Krister. Yeah, right. But okay. Duke, I like Tour Edge. Tour Edge does a very good job. So Tour Edge is really known more for their exotics line. That's what gets them on the map. but they are they're well placed with the Champions Tour. They do a pretty good job. Nothing bad in their lineup that I'm aware of. It's just one of those, I just don't know what doesn't make them go. Yeah, you should be able to pull that one off, I think. Jerry Smiley. Here we go. Here's one. He put a new CPX grip on a couple of clubs to try out. Very soft and sticky. Hopefully they will help for arthritic fingers. I think they will. They're soft enough for you. Ah, so I was right. Okay. Favorite driver of all time. Ooh, favorite driver of all time. Well, I don't know. That's a hard one. My last 4 or 5 drivers have all been Callaway, and I've got to say that every time I get one, I go, "There's no way it can be better," and then it is. Is it a massive amount better? No, because it would have to be something dramatic for me, right? For me. But honestly, if I go back, I think the Maverick is the one I started hitting well. I think that was because of the lessons. But I'm more of an epic guy, so that would have to be it. Fairway shaft. I was right, so I'm happy to know at least I know what I'm talking about, at least a little bit. Yeah, and the AD. You're right. It's a fairway wood shaft, and I'm all about that one. So yeah. Poor man's Ventus Red. Hmm. I would go to what I would do, Dylan, is I would go to Golf Works, and I would look at. They have a code, and it tells you about what that it has a code of how that shaft performs. It'll be a number, a letter, a number, and a letter. And you can find the Ventus Red on there and then use that. And then you can go up and down and find out which one has a similar result, right? A similar result. And then you can pick it out from there. My my guess here is that it's a higher launching. They all say high launch, low spin, but for their line, a slightly higher launching, a little bit higher torque number in their lineup, and they should be good to go. But if you do that, then at least you'll have a choice of those types of shafts. Your swing, Lebanon, PA. Well, hello there. Pennsylvania's in the house. Reshafting a set of PXG 311s into rapid tapers while listening. Very good. Rapid tapers are pretty decent. All right, what's your opinion? Have you ever used a MacDaddy PM grind? Trent, the MacDaddy grind I liked. I just didn't like the wedge only because it was too heavy for me. It is a much heavier club. I like but the thing, if you weren't able to control it, the thing's going to flop open on you. So you have to really hold on and control it, and that's what Phil did. But it was just too heavy. If they would have lightened it up, I think I would have really enjoyed it. To the point, the new full toes are kind of the reiteration of that, a little less radical on the heel and toe relief and a little bit lighter, and they feel way better. You are the man. Yeah, that would be one of them. That fits right in there. That I even forgot that thing existed. Yeah, but yeah, that's it. All right, what shaft would you give me for irons? 86 I hit on TrackMan. Seb, there's a whole lot more to ask you on that one, buddy, like releasing and tempos and things like that. But at 86, you're in the middle of the regular range still, in the upper end of it. So if you were even the least bit aggressive, I would look at like a soft S, right? Soft S, and maybe something in the 90s, right? In order to help you with swing speed. If you were smoother, I would stay on target or maybe even go a bit lighter. And that way that you can still find the club in the backswing. All right. Dylan, thank you. Up, quite a fast tempo. Then yeah, something in the soft S. I wouldn't be afraid to get an S too. One of the ones that might even say some high ball flightish type stuff. Something that might be a little softer or a little firmer in the butt, but a little bit softer in the tip. You'd be surprised, but that's where I would end up with. And so my last thing before I got to go, guys, and Seb hits on it perfectly. I ran into a bunch of guys. I had some guys in their 70s, their 60s, their 50s, all down the gambit in the fitting bay this week, and I never once ended up on the flex that their swing speed would dictate. All right, it's because of late releasing, hard pulls, soft pulls, all these things, and to put them into these areas that they would live in order to get the ball to square, and it works. So there's more to going on. They see gray on your head, or if you're if you're a little kid, same thing. They go, oh, you need junior this. They just because of what they see. Until you swing a club and all of a sudden you're way better than they predicted, and the stuff you have in your hand doesn't work. So tempos, release, swing speeds, all these things come into play, and it can up the weight, up the flex, down the weight, down the flex, all dependent. And that's the reason why we talk fitting so much here. So if you're fast, I would go in that one. So there you go. Okay, guys, we've made it 15, 16 minutes past again, which is awesome. From all over the world, again, I appreciate you guys for joining us. It's just been an absolute blast. In order to get into that, I just think I just have the best amount of fun with it. So again, we have our release of the video coming tomorrow at 7 a.m. my time, and it's Boxes to Build number 10. And you get to see what we talk about. We talk about the grip. So it'll be a pretty nice little video for you guys to watch. I appreciate it. Again, like and subscribe. And as always, let's see your scores. Go low.